Hey everyone, it's Ben with Aqua, and welcome to the latest episode of Wing-2-Wind, where a wingfoiler goes back to school and tries to windsurf foil. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. I'm going to, as always, break this diary down into three parts. First of all, just a quick recap of the session and what exactly happened. Secondly, we're going to be looking at what I did that I felt helped me to improve and progress. And in the final segment, we're going to look at basically some outstanding issues or problems or questions that I have that still need some addressing, which is unfortunately a lot of things. And for a variety of reasons, most of which amount to me not being very good. There's not a whole lot of footage of me flying or doing really anything particularly cool. So this will be basically on an endless loop, just to give you some visuals. So I do apologize for that. Just like with winging, I hope as I get better, the flights will not only become longer and more controlled, but also the footage will be a lot more varied and interesting too. Okay, let's talk about what specifically happened with this session yesterday. So again, as I mentioned in the intro, I ended up with about 2 to 3 what I would call actual flights where you had the quote unquote moment of silence. On top of that, I had quite a few more, particularly on my second set. I had a few more what I call skimmers or puddle jumpers. None of my flights, as you will see in these clips, was particularly long, barely measurable. And so if I had the audio on, you could actually hear the moment of silence I was referring to. And because my flights were so short, I didn't really quite have time to focus on, let alone think about, going upwind. So as a result, and so I would get caught downwind. And so unfortunately, I had to spend the bulk of my first set as well as a great deal of my second set yesterday afternoon just slogging my way back upwind to the start line to try and take another shot. So in summary, it was a great session. It was really gratifying to get up on foil, however briefly. On the other hand, it's essentially yesterday reminded me a lot of finally getting up on foil with the wing. It was a lot of really super short flights that were at the same time exhilarating, yet at the same time frustrating because when I was up, I tended to get spun downwind, and so if I fell, it was definitely to the downwind side. Okay, now let me talk about what I actually did tactics-wise that I feel really helped me get me over the hump yesterday. As you can see from these clips, in the past when I was riding this particular board, and when I actually got it kind of up to speed, and I was like pretty much kind of skimming, what I would do is I'd get freaked out or I'd fall and I would let off. This time, based upon my experience winging, I just knew that I had to just kind of, when I got it skimming, when I got it moving as fast as I possibly could, just like with winging, that I just needed to keep my foot on the pedal until the thing actually released. Anyways, at speed, moving along, and I got low off the boom and just tried to hang on, leaning into it, trying to put my full weight into the sail. But I also, with winging, I actually tried to pump the sail a few times in order to finally get it to do that release. And so in addition to pumping the sail at that critical moment to just kind of get it to unstick, I also, again, the winging experience, I also tried to deliver a kick with my rear foot down through the mast or through the tail of the board to try to get it unstuck And it definitely took several kicks, but in the short flights that I was able to have, I mean, it worked. It got it to release and to take off in a way that was kind of a little bit foreign to me. The nose really kind of comes up on you, and you just kind of have to be ready for it. For those of you who golf, you'll understand the term swing thought. Those were kind of my swing thought when I would see a gust coming, and I just tried to stay on it and stay with it, not let go, not give in until I was actually up and I got that moment of silence. Just to be clear, I was not harnessed in for these flights. I was also not in the front strap. I was also not in the back straps. Okay, lastly, as promised, I want to cover some of the open issues, problems I'm having. Okay, so first of all, as you've probably seen in all of the YouTube videos on the subject, I guess you're supposed to be in the front strap early. I didn't do that. I tried once or twice on my second set. It's not that I didn't like it. I just can't get over the idea from windsurfing that it's just going to basically drop the rail and I'm just going to skew upwind. I could see where it is definitely going to help some with the control issues. And next, as I pointed out before, I did not get into the back foot straps. I'm hearing different things from my friends in the group on this. Most of them are basically saying just take the back straps off. You don't need those. Kind of agree. I think there was a few times where I probably missed a couple flights because I couldn't quite get my back foot as far back as I wanted, because on the Fanatic Stingray, particularly if you set the back straps inboard, as I did, it's hard. I could not get it further back to where I wanted to. So after looking at a couple other YouTube videos on taking flight with windsurf foiling, it really does seem like getting into that back strap, or at least getting your foot back there sooner, would actually help get the nose up a little sooner. A lot of my hesitance is because in the times where I have tried windfoiling, I always seem to stall out because apparently I've had too much weight in the back, and I just got to realize that windsurf foiling is a different animal. It requires different techniques. The next issue is how to keep the power on. I don't consider myself to be a particularly strong windsurfer, physically or just technique-wise. And so, how to keep the power on when you're not a strong rider. I've seen different schools of thought. I've seen different videos talk about this, whether or not you should be harnessed throughout. Most of my friends, I will say that I've asked about this, and they basically say, stay out of the harness until, you know what you're doing. That's pretty much it. I just have two other things I wrote down here in my notes. Obviously, extending the flights is going to be huge. Just like with winging, the flights were entirely too short. I would end up, because I couldn't go upwind, I would end up downwind out in the corners, and then, it sucks, because then you have to work your way all the way back upwind. And I think the solution to that, I'm going to try anyways, is to get my foot, as I talked about earlier, to get my foot back either into the straps or where the straps would be if I removed the straps. So, anyways, that's kind of in a nutshell what happened, and my thoughts on what was a breakthrough windfoiling session. Thank you for listening. If you have any questions, comments, and certainly any advice for me, I do please encourage you to comment below. Again, I hope you found this video helpful, particularly for those of you who are looking to get started in windfoiling. If you did, please do hit like below, as well as subscribe to this channel to get updates on the latest content releases. We sure do appreciate it. Hey, in the meantime, again, this is Ben with Aqua, as always, wishing you good winds and happy sailing.